10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Look, up in the sky, it's a bird.
It's a plane!
There's no need to fear.
I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, cause I'm black.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Super Black, an all-black panel podcasting experience where we talk about all things superhero, past, present, and future. From Marvel and DC to anime, there is no stone we will leave unturned as we take a deep dive into the genre of superpowered individuals and the worlds they inhabit. I'm your friendly neighborhood host, Zuri Washington. I use she, her pronouns, and you can follow me on IG at Zuri with a fringe on top. But I'm going to leave it to the rest of today's super panel to introduce themselves. Take it away.
Hi, Michael Andreas. You can find me on Instagram at Michael_Andreas. You can also find me touring the country with the cast of Ain't Too Proud, The Life and Times of the Temptations. Good to be here again.
Hello, everybody. I am Jason Williams. I use he, him pronouns, and my Instagram is at BlueRanger83 because I'm Power Rangers for life.
For life.
For
And
life.
don't forget to follow the podcast itself on IG at Super Black Podcast, or you can follow us on Twitter at Super Podcast. But now that we are all assembled, let's get started. So today we have a small panel because we have so many people, so many wonderful people to interview. We have the LARPers from Hawkeye. We have three of them with us today. We have Robert Walker-Branchaud, who played Orville. We have Adelle Drahos, who played Missy. And we have Adetinpo Thomas back with us again, back in the house, who played Wendy Conrad. So if you could give them all a warm round of applause. They are popping up on the screen now. Yay. We're so happy to have you guys. This is our first group interview. You're so many firsts for us, Adetinpo. So
Yes.
we appreciate your existence.
I'm rooting for everybody black, Zuri. I got you.
I know, I got you too. But it was so lovely to see your chemistry on screen together. It was so wonderful. I really enjoyed your portrayals and your kinship. And I know that Adetinpo mentioned in her solo interview that they actually didn't tell you guys before you were cast that you were first responders or something like that. Can you go more into detail about what that conversation was like?
I had a little bit of an idea that I was, but that was because in the second round of auditions for Missy, they described her as a paramedic. So that's where I kind of got that idea from, but it was never actually in the script for Missy or ever actually officially confirmed. But that's what I rolled with for her.
And how about you, Robert?
I thought I kind of had a feeling that we were. I don't know. I honestly can't remember now, but I thought it said somewhere that think of these as first responders. I think there may have been like notes that came back from casting prior to the callback, maybe that's when they kind of let that note. I'm trying to like put it together.
I guess for me,
to make it
though,
more grounded in like a hey, this is what they do for fun on the weekend, but think more of just like it could be any type of first responder. And then I ended up working for the NYPD. So
What were you going to
I
say,
was just
Adetinpo?
gonna say that I guess part of me, for whatever reason, when I hear first responder, I'm just thinking like paramedics and firefighters. So I was like, oh, okay. If we're gonna so if I'd seen that, my brain must have been like, oh, we're paramedics, or oh, we're firefighters. I wasn't like, oh, we work in the NYPD. Like you work in what was it, internal affairs?
business affairs.
business affairs.
Business affairs.
Which is
And I was
favorite.
in the bomb squad, which I completely made up and retconned. So we're just gonna make that canon.
Yeah, that's canon.
Yeah.
That's what I've been telling everyone anyway. So
Okay.
it's canon
Come on,
now.
backstory.
What were your auditioning experiences like? Did you know what you were auditioning for beforehand, or at what point were you aware that this was for Hawkeye?
I thought I was auditioning for Loki. So I had the completely wrong Marvel show, completely unaware that they had already really cast that, and I'd actually auditioned for that months ago. I knew it was a Marvel project, but beyond that, I definitely thought it was Loki going in. And then as far as the process, it was did the first audition. I had actually gotten pinned for that, and then a few weeks later, they sent me the exact same audition again. But with a slightly different character breakdown because they weren't really sure what direction to take Missy in at the beginning. So I re-auditioned a second time, and then about a week later, my agent emailed me and they're like, "Hey, can you do a callback with casting and the director tomorrow morning?" They emailed me at night. It was a very quick turnaround. And I was like, "Yep," and got another set of sides and did that, and that was a lot of fun to be able to work with, to be able to play around in that callback process. So that was the experience for me.
I think I was like 95% sure it was Hawkeye. Just because how they label them like Marvel SVOD and then a number. And so like I run a company that tapes actors for auditions.
Yeah.
So I had already been seeing SVOD 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 throughout this process. And by seeing different sides from different people audition for different roles, I was able to kind of like piece together, well, it's definitely not this, or it's definitely not that. And I kind of then was like, all right, this is probably going to be Hawkeye. And so that was pretty much that process. And then I only read once for this specific role, but I had read for WandaVision, and I had read for Loki, and I had read for She-Hulk as well. So when I did this read, and it's all the same casting director doing those projects.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
So I don't know if those other auditions had any impact, on this specific booking. But yeah, I read for it once, and then I got the news that I got the callback, and then did the callback. It was a Zoom thing with the directors and casting, and it was funny because in the casting room they were like 25 minutes behind maybe for me. So I was kind of just waiting for them to get to me, but in the Zoom there was that little like group messaging on the side, and I had saw that two of my best friends were auditioning as well, like after me. So that was like the last thing I saw. I was like, oh, Christian's here. Oh, Matt's here. And then they pulled me, like, all right, Rob, you're up now. And they pulled me in. So they both went after me. And so that was kind of cool. But yeah, and then it was pretty quick after that, after the callback, that was, hey, my agent called me. He was like, it's Hawkeye, you're on it. It's going to be a fun ride.
Right.
Yeah, the rest is history.
How long was the filming process?
I think they filmed December to April.
Okay.
But we were there January to March.
But it would be like 2 days in January, 3 days in February, and then like 2 weeks plus 2 days in March. So it's like kind of sporadic.
Yeah.
So I had a quick question. We always love to talk about, we actually did an episode on all of our origin stories where how we got into superheroes and how we got into comic books. Were you all fans of comic books and of superheroes before you kind of got into this world of Marvel? Did you all get into these movies or even just the comic books initially?
I'm Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. So my brother's 10 years older than me, and I no longer have these. He's now secured them again. But for a good amount of time, I was lugging around boxes of comic books of his from like the probably late 70s, 80s, 90s type deal.
Mhm.
And I was never like an avid reader of the comics, but I had looked through a lot of them, and that kind of what sparked my interest. And I was like the X-Men TV show I was a real big fan of, and
Yeah.
Spider-Man the TV
Yes.
show,
Yep.
and Batman as well. So that was kind of like my introduction into this world. And then those were my favorite action figures. I had like a ton of X-Men action figures growing up. So once the movies started coming out, I was already like, I was just ready to,
It was a
to
wrap,
consume and
yes.
spend as much money as possible.
How about you, Adele?
Yeah, I've never gotten deep into like the comic book part of it, but I have an older brother, so I definitely grew up like watching the X-Men and Spider-Man cartoons. And then from, the first Spider-Man with good old Toby onwards, I've seen all of the superhero. I love the superhero formula.
Mhm.
Even like they've been into it for almost a decade now. And even my roommate's like, yeah, it's another superhero movie. And I'm like, yeah, it's another one. It still works on me. I love them all. I definitely have like my favorites, and I like the more classic gritty ones versus the more the comedic ones.
Mhm.
But I have watched all of the MCU leading into this. And yeah, no, I'm a fan.
I didn't realize we all have older brothers. Because my older brother definitely, I watched like Dragon Ball Z over his shoulder, and
Yeah,
then
me too.
watched X-Men over his shoulder. And then when it was my turn to like when he was gone off to college, I still ended up really loving sci-fi, but the superhero stuff, like Rob said before, that he has seen every Marvel movie on opening night since they started making Marvel movies. And
Wow.
I always make sure I end up going out. I actually remember sitting in like the third time watching Black Panther, and some guy leaned over to me and he was like, "Did you watch Captain America Civil War?" And I was like, "You have no idea what I know. Get away from me." I was like, "Did I watch T'Challa mourn his father?" Yes, I did.
Was King T'Challa's
so
death
upset.
one of the seminal moments of my life? Yes.
The audacity. The
I had
audacity.
such a jaded. I love Black Panther, but I had such a terrible experience because I had bad seats in the theater, and it was
no.
a million degrees.
Mm.
And I was with my group of friends, and like collectively towards like the halfway part of the movie, you could tell all of us were like leaning forward to like separate our bodies from the chairs, type of deal, and like each one of us was taking turns to like do that, and at the end we're all just dripping sweat. Like
No.
that was awesome,
Wow.
but
Oh,
oh my god, I'm
Actually, I'm
That's
panicking
curious.
now. I need to leave.
I've never asked other people this. For Black Panther, did you guys have people come out in like regalia? Like, did you see? Because so many of those things went viral. Did you see any people like in their Coming to America outfit, or were there lots of dashikis and Accra going on? Like, what did that look like?
I gotta
for you
be honest.
guys?
I don't even remember it. Like I
Because of the
left
heat.
so quick. I was like, I need to get outside and get
Yes.
air. Like I didn't take in any consumption after. I was just like, please, I need to go like wash my face off right now. So I don't remember.
Yeah, they set the temperature
was
to
a blur.
Wakanda
Yeah.
for you.
Okay.
I just was like,
I say that.
I felt like I was in an area of Africa during that entire film, which added like a whole new
Yes.
level of realism to it that I wasn't
It's an
expecting.
immersive experience.
You watch it in
But it
4D.
also
I don't know
taught
why
me-
you're mad. You signed up for that.
I-
Your share also like on the
For
roof.
every other movie that I've win, like that movie taught me the experience that I go to the manager before I go in the theater. And I'm like, hey, I was just over in the RPX. It's kind of warm in there. Maybe you guys can like turn down the air conditioning a little bit to preemptively make sure no movie is ever hot for me ever again. And I've done it now.
Did you hear that, ladies and gentlemen? All of
That's
you who
right.
are ever cold, it is Rob's fault.
Yes.
I have this little Delta blanket that I stole, and I literally take that into the movie theater with me because they are usually so cold. And I'm like, all right, we're gonna bring the jacket, and it's gonna be like summertime, and we're gonna bring the Delta blanket, and we're gonna cozy up because they're always so cold to me.
And now we know why.
Now you know why.
Because of Rob.
It's Rob.
Thank you.
I run hot.
It's a conspiracy.
That's funny.
It was
Black
Rob
Panther is actually one
Branchaud.
of the few movies that I've actually seen multiple times in theaters.
Yeah.
I'm usually like a one and done with the theaters kind of thing. And I went and saw Black Panther, 2.5 times, because the second time that I went, I actually started feeling really sick halfway through. So I left, and then I went back another time to watch it from start to finish.
Finish it up. Work. I actually saw it at.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I actually saw it at the Magic Johnson Theater in Harlem. So there was just lots of little kids dressed as Black Panther, and it was just adorable. You know, it was like you could see how proud like these parents were to be taking their kids to go see like this Black superhero and to be represented. Like that was what was so cool. Is going and seeing all of that. And like one of the blackest theaters in America, Magic Johnson, 125th Street, Harlem. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just awesome. It was like the community had come out and everybody was there to to support and be excited for it. And so it was awesome.
My brother-in-law's son has a Black Panther outfit that he was like for Halloween a couple years ago, and now he'll just randomly put on the Black Panther garb and play video games in it. He just stands in his room.
I feel that. That's a move. I feel that.
Yeah, it's a big move.
Get you ready. Heighten your reflexes and everything.
When I saw Black Panther, I went to a premiere that was organized by initiative called Party Blackly, and they're on IG as that. And so anybody who bought tickets, we were out there. I don't get fake nails. I got fake nails so that I look like claws. I did my hair in I did Bantu knots with like red in it. And I'm just like, I did a whole thing. And it wasn't necessarily like any kind of traditional African garb, but there were a lot of people definitely dressed to the nines, ready to be there and pay their respects to their king. So.
And I don't know many films that will bring people out and that's what they do.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I can't tell you the last time or a time before Black Panther where people were like, now it is time to all wear themed costumes. Maybe Star Wars, but I think that's just because people are nerds, not because of the
The final Harry Potter one had people dressed.
I was gonna say that same thing. Harry Potter,
It's been a minute. It's been a minute.
It has been.
Yeah, I might have worn my Ravenclaw tie to a screening or two. That's fair.
And Hunger Games. So many people came dressed as if they were from District 1 when the Hunger Games was out. Oh,
that's
yes.
so interesting.
Oh, yeah. I saw
Wait,
a lot
from
of
the
that.
Capitol? Or which one's this?
Oh, yeah, from the from the Capitol. Yeah.
Like those
Talk
kooky
about
outfits.
missing the forest for the trees. That is not the point of that book.
That's not the ones you want to be a part
That
of.
is not. You guys didn't do that right.
They were not
You
the good
missed the
guys.
whole point.
It was like, ooh, they're fabulous. I'm going to dress like this. Yes.
Wow.
But they're fabulous for bad reasons.
Yeah.
But yeah. And we know a lot about Adetinpo in terms of like where she's from, her origins in that way. But where are you guys like born and raised, and where do you base yourselves now in your artistic practice?
I'm originally from New Jersey. I lived there until I was 19. And then I moved down to Orlando and did probably about 9 years in Orlando until I came up to Atlanta, where I have now, will be calling Atlanta home for, it's 9 years now, and I love it here. I own a small business here. I bought a condo in Atlanta, so it's definitely proudly call this city my home. Yeah. That's
you mentioned about your business before. Can you go more into detail about the nitty-gritty of that, because that's very interesting to me.
Yeah, so we are a taping service. We predominantly tape actors for their auditions and send them out to their agents or casting, depending on how the audition is supposed to work. We've just recently moved into a 5,000 square foot building from
Congratulations.
about 1,100 square
Wow.
feet. So we're really excited about that. We have a space in the back, a warehouse space that we're going to transform into a performance space for theater, stand-up, improv,
Rob.
short film
That's
screenings,
awesome.
Oh my
independent film
God.
screenings and stuff
Super
like that.
cool.
So that's kind of
I didn't
been
know that.
what we're really.
I gotta
we're
come
really
down to
working on right
ATL.
now.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. Where is it? Where's the new location?
It's right across the street from our old spot.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Yeah. So yeah, we got lucky.
Yeah,
We have a
yeah,
really good
yeah.
relationship with landlords, and they kind of the business that was in there went out of business because of COVID, and it was vacant for nearly 2 years. And I had toured this place several years ago, and I'd fallen in love with it, but I kind of recircled back and talked to them, and we were able to work out something that worked for both of us. So yeah, what the premise is. My company is called Frat Pack Productions. The building is going to be called the Atlanta Entertainment Warehouse, and we're going to kind of try to build it out as think of like warehouses that are converted into fast casual like restaurants, so like a bunch of restaurants or shops type of deal. But we're going to do that for the entertainment industry. So we're working towards having, possibly a casting office moving in. We're working on getting a training facility and a local studio in town to move into our space and operate under our building. Maybe get like a post house as well in there. So kind of just the main goal is to have us be a destination for any out-of-state actor that's coming in, whether it be from New Orleans, Wilmington, New York, or LA, for them to come and have kind of the one-stop shop while they're here working, and
That's wow.
maybe even a friendlier environment for people that are locally based too, that are that are already with us, because it has a lounge too. You can kind of come hang out, and if you got a project you're trying to workshop, just come hang out in the lounge, and maybe you want to run lines with somebody type of deal. So yeah, it's
That's
just kind of
cool.
I got,
Like a
I
week
got
break.
really excited when you said the name because I've actually taped with you guys before. Like I was my grandparents. I'm from the Atlanta area, and I had to come down here, and I was down here with family, and I got an audition while I was here, and so I went and it was for Miss America, Mrs. America, the show that was on Hulu, and and it was a great experience. I've actually worked with your company before, which is very cool.
That's actually how I know Rob. I would take so I live 45 minutes south with my mom when I first started acting when I came back from grad school. So I would drive 45 minutes to tape like 2 lines and then drive 45 minutes home. So when it was time, I don't know if you know this, Rob, I think I may have told you. When it was time to move to Atlanta, I looked for places near Frat Pack.
close to us.
Wow.
So when they were talking about moving, I was like, what are you talking about? I can't move again. I actually live closer to Frat Pack right now than Rob does. Like, those guys are such good guys. Every single one of them. That's actually where I taped my audition for Hawkeye.
Such quality work too. It was amazing. I know this is going to turn into a huge Frat Pack production commercial, but I don't care because it was so good. Like there was
appreciate the love.
The finished product was amazing. When I gave it to my agents, they were blown away. So yeah.
I'm so proud of you, Rob. That's awesome.
Aw,
That's exciting. That's so exciting.
I wish I lived in Atlanta.
Come to us.
Where are you all based?
I'm based in New York City. I'm from the Bronx, born and raised.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I am currently in and out of New York. I've lived in New York for about 15 years, but I am now in a transition. Maryland, sometimes New York, but back and forth.
Yeah. I was in New York before I booked this tour. I'm actually in Atlanta right now because we're here this week. But yeah, I'm all over the place. So
that's great.
Adele, tell us some more about yourself.
So I was born in Mobile, Alabama, but I actually spent the bulk of my growing up years between like Virginia, North Carolina area. I've always loved performing and doing all that jazz. I went to school in Savannah for performing arts. I was involved with performing plays and stuff since like 6th grade. Went to college for it, came to Atlanta, and I've been boots on the ground for about a decade here in Atlanta, and I love it. I think it's a great community of people, and there's like what Rob's talking about, just that there's a couple of spots where they want to build up this community and support and create these spaces where creatives can come together and get their jam on, which is pretty awesome. So I would love to stay in Atlanta and then be able to travel for work. Would be my great world. Because I like Atlanta. I do. And it's a great place to build a resume. What was
Quality
that?
of life you were saying, Adetinpo?
Yeah, I was just saying the quality of life comparatively, the amount of work you need to do to live somewhere comfortably here in Atlanta is so far from what you need to do in New York or LA. So you have time to take auditions because you don't have 4 part-time jobs. You just have 2, like.
Yeah, I'm in a house with 3 other actors. We're a very active house. We're taping people all the time, like friends coming and going, and I love it. The only thing I don't love is that I still can't afford a house, and this is the tragic case of the millennial right now.
Yeah, I was like, that's the generation, not the city.
Right.
You're just traumatized as a people.
I'm gonna say, like, I keep hearing so many great things about the Atlanta community of artists and theater actors, and it's really like anytime someone talks about Atlanta, that's what they talk about is the community, which is so wonderful. And you guys have already talked about how you're thriving in the community. How do you compare? Have you lived other places? Have you tried out other places, LA, New York, and been like, and you come to this consensus like, no, Atlanta is the place to go or the place to be?
I grew up in LA.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And my family moved here in high school. And funny enough, I didn't really start acting until I was in high school. And I wanted to go back to LA for college, and my mom said no. And I stayed in Georgia. And luckily I did, because by the time I was graduating high school is when it's really started being more than just Tyler Perry, but even he was really ramping up what he was doing. And then by the time I finished college, there were more movies here, more shows here. By the time I came back from grad school, Marvel was here, CW was here, Netflix was here. So it's a great city to be in. I will say that I feel like people underestimate Atlanta actors. And I think they also think they're going to swoop in from another city, another market, and then just like jump to the front of the line. But coming to Atlanta is like moving anywhere when you first start, because you still need to get the casting directors to know you. You still have to find somewhere to train. You still need to find the people who are going to help read with you and tape your auditions. And I think the major difference is, depending on who you are, what you do, what you look like, who's repping you, as opposed to taking 10 or 15 years in LA, it might only take you like 8 years in Atlanta. Right. Because it is a smaller market.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great place to build a resume. The catch is your larger roles are still not really coming to Atlanta.
And if they are, they're not paid well.
What?
I said, and if they are, they're not paid well.
The T.
Yeah. So we're still trying to, the con to Atlanta is we are still trying to prove to producers in LA, mostly in LA, that we work just as hard and can bring just as much talent to the table as LA actors. We are a smaller pool of people, but yeah, it's a great place to build the resume and to climb up that ladder. And we need more crew here, though, so we can start establishing our own infrastructure. If anyone listening to this likes to crew, come to Atlanta.
Please come to
Atlanta as well.
We've got so many studios popping up. It is so exciting. Big studios. We got a big one coming up in Doraville. That's long-term process, but still exciting for the future. And we have that woman who just bought all that property.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah. I forget her name, but she's like, they're like, look out, Tyler Perry. She's coming in.
That thing. Yeah.
I feel like it was like Tammy or something, but I could be wrong. But yeah, it's exciting. I'm hopeful that you could build a sustainable career here without having to go to LA. But I'm also super biased. I've never lived in LA or New York and tried to do the hustle there. I've came to Atlanta after college, and I've been here since.
Mm.
But I built a very nice resume compared to some other people that I graduated with. So pros and cons all around, but I like Atlanta.
Rob, how does it compare for you?
I came here from Orlando, and Orlando was terrible. It's the only way.
Tell us how you really feel, Rob.
I mean, listen.
Yes.
Realistically, it comes
Don't
down
be
to
shy.
politics, politicians,
Mhm.
and understanding of how taxes and incentive programs work, and how
Right.
the amount of jobs that are created from the film industry. So Florida had a really robust tax incentive program, but even in their heyday, they weren't pumping out the amount of volume that Georgia is doing. So we had a couple shows a year, Burn Notice, The Glades,
Mhm.
like that type of stuff. And we have a couple movies a year. So the main thing I was doing, acting was like a secondary thing. Once I decided to pursue acting, I was only getting a couple auditions a month. And I was auditioning for more commercials monthly than I ever was TV and film. Then the film incentives dried up, and everything. There's nothing left in Florida at all, really, and all the stuff was going to New Orleans, Wilmington, and kind of Atlanta. And then I moved to Atlanta, just put in perspective of a timeline. I quit my job in 2009 to pursue acting. I moved up to Atlanta in February of 2013. So in those 4 years, all I did was commercials and theater. I was never able to book a television show or a real film. I moved here February 2013. I got my first audition on a Thursday. I taped it, or I went in person for that. I booked it on Monday.
Wow.
So I was only here for a weekend, and I booked my first television show. So it's right off the bat, I was clear oh, cool, this is way different. And I got to work 3 days on Let's Stay Together. It's not on the air anymore, but it was and that was a lot of fun. And I was able to get a agent off of that show. I worked with a guy who I've now become best friends with. He was with an agent who introduced me, and then I was able to get my first show and a local agency repping me. And the clear difference was, and I think Adele probably touched on this, comparing resumes, that I know in my first year living in Atlanta, I had 130 auditions. So from going to 1 to 2 auditions a month to then auditioning 130 times for just TV and film projects in a year, that's a stark difference. And its own, I was able to book 3 jobs my first year, 4 jobs my second year, and it just kept on building and building. The projects got better, the roles got better. So yeah, it's to me, I was considering Vancouver, New Orleans, New York, or LA, or Atlanta. And then Atlanta was the one I decided on. And I'm super grateful I am, because my resume was able to grow to what it was. And people that I know that moved out to LA before I moved to Atlanta don't even have a quarter of the resume I've been able to build. In 10 years, they're still fighting to get 5 jobs type of deal. And that's really the big difference. If you're trying to be a working actor, you need to be getting auditions. If you're not getting auditions, there's no way you're going to book.
Basically, what I learned is that I'm a really stubborn person, and I'm such a city. I love New York City. I can't imagine myself living permanently anywhere else. But that being said, TV film is not usually my first thing, or my bread and butter, the thing that I think about. But I'm well, I would like to do some projects like that. And if I really want to do it, I'm going to have to change markets, because the New York market is not it for me in terms of breaking into the TV film scene, because you have to have at least half a Broadway credit to even be considered for Law and Order. So
You make an interesting point, though. because depending on the market, some markets favor people more than others. I have a friend, I think you guys all know her, who in Atlanta, sure, she books, but she did a lot more theater. She got a New York manager, and then they fly her in from Atlanta to do TV in New York because that market just suits her really well because it's a lot, very procedural heavy, lots of dramas out there.
Yeah.
Are you
So
talking
it's
about
just
Yanni Rodriguez?
So there's a lot of sitcoms in New York too. Atlanta doesn't have like any sitcom. There's no sitcom in Atlanta. So if that's like your bread and butter, that's your interest. Like, don't come
We
to
have
Atlanta.
one right now.
We have one.
What is it?
One live studio audience show filming in Atlanta right now.
What is it?
Couldn't tell you the name. My buddy the only reason I know about it is because my buddy just worked on it last week.
This is such suspense. I was waiting.
Jason, yes, it was Yanni Rodriguez.
Oh yes, I think we did talk about this, but no, she's a good friend of mine. So
Such a good person, such a amazing
yes, very much so. I mean, y'all got me ready to pack my bags and clear out my storage unit. So
do it
and see what's up.
Well, let me add this too, and I think it's important to say it. This is the most being an actor is one of the most difficult jobs there is.
Truly.
You know, like I you can try to convince me otherwise, and I'm not like, yeah, sure, I'm not out breaking my back every day, you know, as a construction worker, you know, I'm like, I get it, like, yes, there are harder jobs in this, but to be an actor is to be in the constant state of unemployment. Now, you show me another career that your job is to be unemployed, and that is what our job is.
and
So
to
the
do
point
your
that I'm
job
getting
for
at-
free.
Yeah,
For free.
the point I'm getting at is like,
Or sometimes pay. If you're an opera singer, you have to pay for your auditions. If you like,
well, even also, most people, we have to pay for our auditions because you're taping them. So if you're not
Sure,
doing
the
yourself,
cost
you're
of-
paying.
yeah.
You know, like, but the main point of what I'm saying is like in an
Yes.
industry, in a job path that is absolutely stacked up against you, why put yourself in a market that is even exponentially more difficult for you to succeed? And that's why like the value of Atlanta. Like, sure, I can move to LA and I have no doubt that I would be successful in LA. It would just take me longer. You know, like, and I'm kind of like what this was able to do for all of us is kind of cool. We're at the front of the line now. You know, like, and at the end of the day, isn't that what it's about?
Yeah, right.
Oh, yeah.
Scrawl, are you at the front of the line? Why didn't you
We're doing an interview. We're doing an interview right now because of Hawkeye. Like, how many other people? How many of your friends are Marvel canon now? You know, like,
and still alive.
I mean, there's a lot of Atlanta talent in Marvel, which is super exciting. There's a lot of Atlanta talent in Marvel, in the Marvel productions.
That is so cool. Yeah.
That's very cool.
I remember when Black Panther was down there, when I heard that Black Panther was being filmed in Atlanta, I think I messaged, what's his name? Jason Stamey on IG. I was looking for anything I could find to just be like, hey, I will be like a tree in the background. I don't care. I can be like the pool in the Wakandan like forest. I don't like
be liquid.
The liquid pool of magic that like the ancestors bathed in. I don't know. I didn't care, but like I was at that point, because I was fairly young. Not that I'm not young right now, but like I was young, and I was like, please, I want so badly to be in this movie. But when I started hearing about Atlanta and how Disney was setting up there, I was really engaged with that. But now a lot of stuff they're doing in Australia, right?
I don't know. They're filming Black Panther 2.
Yeah, 2 is definitely in Atlanta. But I know
the majority
that
of the stuff's here.
It's still there.
They're shooting
Okay,
that
great.
because of COVID and Chris Hemsworth, though.
Right.
Gotcha.
Just like they're
that's
doing Loki.
predominantly, so like they'll shoot around
people,
a star type deal or a person type thing. For predominantly, they're shooting the mass of their stuff is still here because they've locked down like an entire studio space.
Right. Where
and
did you all?
They rented Tyler Perry too.
Oh, they did. That makes sense. Where did you all film? Because like obviously the location of Hawkeye is New York City, but for most of your scenes, were you still in Atlanta, or did they fly you out to New York? Yeah,
we were in Atlanta the whole time.
All around Atlanta. Yeah, we were Midtown Atlanta.
Was it the Will Smith? Was it Will Smith? Is that who?
Will
So
Smith.
Tyler Perry's new studio, the one
Oh,
he bought the Air Force Base and built a new studio, has a bunch of sound stages. They're all named after iconic
I
black
see.
actors. Well, not just actors, because I think they're like Spike Lee, so he's director. I think ours was the Will Smith soundstage.
You know, I didn't
Am I
even
making that
clock
up?
that. Maybe.
I just knew there was a number.
Yeah, so each one of them has a name. I'm fairly
I
certain.
feel like if I saw the name like the Will Smith stage, I would have. I love Will Smith. I don't love that he moved his production from Atlanta at one point, but I don't recall. But yeah, we filmed at Tyler Perry Studios. We were in Midtown. There's a hotel in Midtown. We were out at Piedmont Park. We were at Stone Mountain, and there's a studio, if you will, up in Norcross.
Yeah, what's the name?
Okay.
Is that
It's like
Black? Or am I thinking of the?
Black Hall somewhere else.
That's the one. Yeah. What is it? I don't know.
The one
But
in
the
Norcross
studio
is like OBS or something like that.
That one's accurate. I don't know. But it was also where they did like one of the Divergent movies too. Like I remember being an extra in one of those films.
I did background there. Yes, I did background. Where we later were now principal for Hawkeye.
Look how far we've come.
Look how far we've come.
Yes.
Love that. But I know, Adele, before we started recording today, you were talking about a play you've been writing, or the pieces that you are in the midst of developing. Can you talk more about that?
Yes. So I've had a story since I wrote a feature. Well, this actually goes before quarantine. Oh wow, this goes way back. I started a short film in 2019, and then during quarantine, I wrote the feature version of that film. And over the past 2.5 years, I've tried twice to produce the short film. So in the fall of 2019, I tried to produce that short film. It just didn't work out. Wrote the feature. Then in 2021, this past fall, tried again with a different draft of the short film, the third complete rewrite of that script. That didn't work out. So I am now, and then in January, I rewrote the fourth completely new rewrite of the draft. So now I am rewriting for like the fifth time. Because it's very difficult to translate and capture the essence of what a feature story is into a short film, because it is a fantasy fiction story. There is world building and it is a large cast. And trying to translate that into less than 20 minutes is quite a challenge. But I love this story. I love fantasy fiction. That's my go-to. And it's basically about an angel who descends to Earth to help protect and nurture Nephilim, which are half angel, half human. If anybody's into supernatural, totally love that show. And obviously then you have the one that comes along who's like, oh, there's something different, let's figure it out. And then we get this cult involved that's actually based on a real cult from the 20s, because I love sprinkling in some like actual history stuff. And it's a whole thing, but it's definitely a process and not easy to produce. It's some people are just go make everything, and I have not had that positive experience. I've produced a few things, but it's easier said than done in my personal experience. I also have very, 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 very high standards. So I want to make sure what I do is going to be like top notch, whether I've ever done it before or not. But that's that project. So we're tackling that again. If people are interested in that, we have an Instagram page and a Facebook page. It's called Half-Bloods of Hila, and that's spelled Hilla. There's one post because we have erased everything because we're starting from scratch again. And you probably won't see anything posted for another month or 2 or 3. But I promise one day in the next 10 years, this project will happen.
Yeah.
So that's what that was. Yes. And we did a table read, and I asked Adetinpo to come in and read for one of the characters. And that's where all that kind of came from.
That's very cool.
Awesome. Yeah.
Well, yeah, definitely best of luck with that, because I can't, I mean, putting up this podcast has been a lot for me, so I can't imagine trying to like do a short film, let alone a feature-length film of that kind of magnitude. So kudos to you for even putting your first foot forward, or second or third, fourth drafts forward.
Yeah. But I think the thing with all of this, is that you guys are bothering to try. A lot of people don't try. A lot of people fear failing, and I think even more people fear succeeding, so they don't do anything. But you guys are trying, and from what I've seen, you're killing it. So,
Back at you.
Yeah, Adetinpo, I wanted to ask you about what is going on with you since the last time we spoke. Anything that you wanted to highlight? Yeah, that you can talk about, obviously. Anything you wanted to highlight?
When was the last time we spoke?
It was December or January. Yeah, December.
Time isn't real, right?
I know, time is like
that was like 6 months ago, and I'd have been like, yeah, that tracks. What have I been doing? So I'm still producing that the content for children based on the Montessori approach. We're really excited about. It's like heart-meltingly adorable to have these little kids come in, and you're like teaching them how to make sandwiches. Like it's just so sweet. I got cast in a feature, an indie feature. I don't know if that was before or after we talked, but that was exciting. They reached out directly, but it was because I had worked with other people who were on the crew for this movie, and they're like, "Oh, we're trying to cast this role," and they're like, "Adetinpo can do it." So be nice to everyone. Don't burn bridges anywhere, unless you need to burn them and scorch the earth.
Okay.
But generally speaking,
Light them on fire.
I'll bring the kerosene
down.
Kick them off the bridge. But it was that was a really exciting thing, and it was sci-fi, so that really spoke to me.
Yes.
And outside of that, I mean, the shorts that we did in the last couple of years that finally, because COVID has subsided, has it? Remember when there was a pandemic? Our shorts are going through the festival circuit now, and actually we're getting some pretty good traction on one of them. So, I mean, on both of them, but one in particular. So that's exciting. And then other stuff
recently at a screening.
Yeah, you did.
Oh, yeah.
An accident. Yeah.
Before all the Hawkeye business, Rob and Adetinpo, you have met or knew each other prior?
Yeah.
So how did you meet? And Adele, did you know everybody beforehand, or was Missy your first foray into meeting Adetinpo and Robert?
Well, I knew of Robert because we have mutual friends, and I knew of Frat Pack, and I'm always referring like taping studios and stuff. So that was one that I was always throwing out there. And I knew of Adetinpo because my roommate works in casting, and I'd seen her through. I hover over my roommate's shoulders on projects sometimes, and I had seen her through that, or just her just blatantly expressing her grand love for Adetinpo. So I was like, which is funny in the callback Adetinpo. I think you and I were in the same room because there were like 3 other initials, but one of them was AT, and my roommate's like, she's running through who are all the AT people in Atlanta. She's like, Adetinpo Thomas. And I was like, I don't know, maybe. I don't know.
Shout out to Jordan.
Like,
Jordan's
gosh, you were right.
Yeah. Jordan's dope. Shout out to JBB.
Yeah. We love Jordan.
Yeah.
Yes.
She's working right now. She's working on a project as an actor. I'm super excited for her.
We met because I started taping Rob's place. Actually, almost wore my Frat Pack shirt for this interview, and then I was like, well, let me not. Maybe so. Can't fangirl too
all
much.
the advertising I live. Yes.
But no, I mean, Rob and I moved to Atlanta in 2018, so it's been several years now. So it was really exciting because I've never had this happen, at least not to my knowledge. But when you're high enough up on the call sheet, in casting, they'll have your pictures up on the wall. for costumes. Depending on the production office, part of the production office you walk into, your picture's up on the wall with your name underneath it, your number on the call sheet. So I think Rob clocked that I was in it before I clocked that he was in it because he walked by my picture. So every time I'd go by that wall when we go to fittings, I was like, who else is in this? You know, kind of sneak it. Can I take a picture of this wall? You can't. Disney will snipe you. But it was really exciting to know that, like, yeah, it's a small town in a lot of ways. So to know that there were such strong connections to the two of them, I think automatically made it really fun. And then Clayton's hilarious. I mean, like, absurdly funny. So it was just so easy to, like, all come together as a group. We are in a group chat. And I think it was just a week or two ago that I texted everybody and I was like, you know what, guys? I think we make a pretty good group. You know, I think we're onto something here. I think we actually yeah.
Rob, did you know who I was?
I don't know. I'm sorry?
Sorry, I was Rob. Did you know who I was?
I knew
Heard of me?
Of you, yeah. I heard of you. I had no clue. We met at the fitting. That was the first time that I actually like saw you. I was like, we're together. We're LARPers.
We're teammates. Teamies? Teammates. We're teammates.
Teammates. Michael, you had a question?
Yeah. Had any of you participated in or known anything about LARPing before being involved with this project at all?
I was in the Renaissance fairs when I was a kid. That's like the closest, like, growing up, those were like a lot. I would go to Renaissance fairs with my family, and I had wooden shields, wooden daggers, axes, swords. So yeah, that was, I'd never like LARPed to the true sense, but I certainly as a child did a lot of just, you know, messing around, playing with that. And like, I was a big Lego kid too. All my favorite Legos were anything of medieval with the ships or castles or stuff like that, Robin Hood and all that. So I definitely have an appreciation for that side of it. Totally.
Yeah.
I feel I we've been asked this before, and I always say no. But to Rob's answer, I'm like, wait a minute, I guess I have LARPed because it was at the Renaissance Fair, but I was like in the cast. So all day you're having these interactions and you're like conjuring up this, like, how fair are you this den? Is that a turkey leg that you have there, madam? They're like, into the privy. You know, like, oh God. I did that for like months too in Pennsylvania. So I guess I have LARPed at the Pennsylvania Renaissance Fair, which was mostly a traumatic experience, but I've done it.
Still counts.
That counts for sure.
Yeah, I've gotten this question before, and I say the closest thing to LARPing I've personally done was a game of Quidditch in college.
Counts.
Oh my God.
It's not the same when the brooms don't fly, though. I'll tell you what.
Clearly.
Not quite the same energy.
Way lower stakes.
But one of my college roommates she was big into D&D, Dungeons and Dragons and into LARPing. So I had known about it. And because I went to art school, my Facebook feed is full of cosplayers getting their costumes together. Especially when Dragon Con comes around and it's like the week before and they're like, I've got this, I'm on hour 72 of just coffee and no sleep, but I've got the third costume is so close to being done. And I'm just like, brilliant, whatever you're creating. This is nice. I can't wait to see the pictures. So I've known about it for a while, but I've never actually participated in cosplay or LARPing before.
Yeah,
Richard we did do our research. I remember talking extensively with Adelle. I think once we had gotten cast and knew we were LARPers and first responders and all that, we both went and started watching Vikings. It ended up not being relevant at all, but we went and like watched the show Vikings. I got Viking LARPers. Like, I thought the LARPing would come back up, and it never did.
It didn't.
But aside from our superhero costumes, which were dope AF, but
yeah,
I did a deep dive into YouTube LARPing videos too. I mean, it really did like expand my appreciation for the craft of LARPing, because there's so many different variations of what the LARP can include, be that characters going on a quest or be that just like fight battles type based LARPing. I mean, but it is the amount of storytelling that some of these LARPs incorporate and that you have to do on building your characters. Same thing kind of in the facet of Dungeons and Dragons, which I also have never actually played, shockingly. But it's there's a craft there for sure, you know, building the outfits, building the characters, telling the stories. A lot of YouTube videos. Went down a rabbit hole.
Don't you? I wonder if you all agree. We all kind of do that as children. We are, maybe we don't call it LARPing. Maybe we just call it, you know, imagining things. But I feel like we all kind of tap into that. If you're LARPing as an adult, like you tap into that inner child that you did, you know, when you were a kid, pretending to be a ninja or a Power Ranger or a night, you know, something. Like I know. Do you feel like, you know, you were tapping into that? Like I was like, oh, this feels familiar. Like I've been doing this, you know, not just in your adult life, but like what you did as a kid. Do you feel like when you were filming these scenes or doing that you were able to tap into that?
So I kind of feel like that's just my job in general. To be real, like I'm a very laissez-faire actor. Like I feel like you're hiring me for my personality, and then I can just show up and I'll do whatever the role is, but it's Rob doing that role type of deal. And so like I'm not a big dress up guy. Like I don't like costumes that much. It's not like something like if someone's like, oh, what are you gonna be for Halloween? I'm not a diehard guy, but you put me on a TV show or a movie, I kind of feel like I'm just making believe as this, you know what I mean? So,
yeah.
That's how I like just sink into it. It was a blast, you know, like when we were shooting those scenes, when we did the LARPing scenes, just the set deck and the attention to detail that went into all the costumes and the fake snow and just like the environment, like you walked out there, you were looking left and right, and then you were in the battlefield. And like the LARPing conversation, I love the movie role models. I love it. I think
yes, I remember those scenes.
Like, yeah, you know, like, and Paul Rudd's their reaction to the LARPing, like slowly Sean William Scott like going into it, full embodying it. I just thought it was great. So that was really probably my years ago when I saw that movie. I was like, oh, I didn't even know what this was type of deal. So I kind of like I had that in the back of my head when I saw these auditions and us doing it. It was more like I envisioned the LARPing battle sequences from role models.
I love
you, Ben Affleck.
Yes.
In contrast to Rob, I love costumes, which is shocking because I've never done cosplay before. Like,
oh wow,
I'm always shocked.
Wow.
But I like to build up costumes for Halloween.
Yes.
I do themed Christmas parties. I work at a haunted house. I have like living statue costumes that I've built. Like I love costumes. And one thing that I love about my type, who I am as an actor, is I don't tend to play like your ingenues. I tend to be more like these character type of roles. I thought it was going to be all like, oh, cops and lawyers. And then it became like the weird nerdy scientist and the heroin addict. And like I legit, like right before this, I have on this like Hawaiian shirt and I had like pigtails and pink sunglasses and like jewelry necklaces. And I'm just like, yes, let's commit. I mean, I wore a semi costume, which you're technically like not supposed to do, but I wore a semi costume for the audition for Hawkeye, because at the time I knew that character like was a LARP battle was happening. So I'm like, I'm gonna put on my little shoulder jewelry and my what do you call it, fake leather corset thingy. We're just gonna do it because I can, and that's why I like acting, because I get to play dress up all the time.
Yes.
But yes,
I might have wore this T-shirt. I don't know.
I'm like, see, as an actor, follow your heart. People are always like, what do I wear? Follow your heart. As long as it's not distracting, whatever makes you feel good. And yes, that tags me back to my childhood on the regular, because you get to dive into all these situations and characters and emotions and costumes.
Yeah.
Yeah, same for me. I mean, that last day, because it was the LARPing days were our last days on set, and that last day was just exhilarating. I am so nihilistic. It circles back around to optimism. But to be able to stand there, and it was just a bunch of grown people, and we were just playing, and everybody was super committed. I mean, the takes were so long because we would be done, and Adele would be like, "Winner," and then we'd be like, "Burn the body," and we'd just be like, like it just kept going and building, and we did it, and we committed to it for like hours. At one point, Rob and I turned to each other, and we were like, "They are paying us to do this," you know. So it was just so. My heart was so full. My heart was so full because I think on top of that, growing up and watching all of this on TV as cartoons as a kid, you're playing along with that. Then as you're deciding you want to be an actor and you're training and you're coming up, you're watching the Marvel films, and all of a sudden you're standing there in a fucking, cosplay costume with Jeremy Renner and the executive producer of like Endgame, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah. Cool. Just
Wow.
Tuesday, So I think there was a lot of joy coming from me, for sure.
There's just a lot of fun energy on set that day. Like I can only ever speak from my perspective and what I experienced, but I mean, we must have done 25 takes. I don't know how I kept my voice or energy, but it was just fueled by all of everyone was just it was so fun. It was so fun.
And we've talked a lot about the costumes and fittings and etc. But what were your were your costumes comfortable? Is my first question, because I hear a lot about the non-comfortability of some of these superhero type fair costumes. But were they comfortable for you?
I mean, I'll speak for myself. The costume department was phenomenal. They were super, super nice. I've also got no point in my life where I'm just like, these shoes hurt, I don't want to wear these. Something different. But I mean, we went to some fittings for both the superhero outfit and the LARPing outfit. Even my like regular Wendy Conrad streetwear, like I feel like they listened to me about the work I wanted and what I was thinking about for my character, and that was kind of shown in the costumes. I was very comfortable the entire time.
Great.
Yeah. So
Pause. It's the pause for me.
Well, I'm gonna be putting myself on blast right now because I'm gonna admit something. Several years ago, I realized for most jobs, I can dictate what I'm going to wear by subtle choices I make in the fitting. And what I mean by that is, like, if they put me in something that I don't like or I don't feel comfortable in, when they take pictures of me, I will make a concerted effort to look uncomfortable or to make that outfit look like, if it needs to like look crumpy or something in a way, I will do that for the stuff I don't like. And then for the stuff I do like, I'm like, oh, you're gonna put me in this and this? Yeah, cool. I'll make sure that I got a smile on my face. I'm standing like straight up. So then that's the honest truth. I do that for every fitting. The costumes were super comfortable. The only uncomfortable thing was the superhero suit. My chest piece was very like, it was just kind of, it was strict. Like I didn't have like, so when you're in that thing for, hours, and maybe you're not even like, so like I had to sit, in a very specific angle to be able to sit type of deal. And like I couldn't like move forward type of thing. So it was more limiting in my mobility, but it was never uncomfortable. I wasn't like, my pants were like pajama pants type material. So it was, it was great.
Nice.
Adele's being polite. light. Go on, Adele.
Yeah.
How was
Yeah, I
yours?
saw you make a face before.
She had like 30 pounds of chainmail on her.
They just assumed Adele was a bodybuilder and she was carrying around a small child in her outfit constantly.
All my streetwear costumes were like as comfortable as can be, and pretty much what I wear in everyday life. The LARPer costume, I was very self-conscious because the pants that I had were men's pants, and I'm pretty sure they were stunt guy pants. I think one of the wardrobe ladies had mentioned that they were like stunts, and there was definitely like a pouch for something that I don't have. So I was very self-conscious and like pictures like stand up straight, pull up the pants so there's no poof. And then the vest on that had these little, they looked cool, but they were like these little nail spike things that kind of went up the vest and around the collar. And my hair, my pigtails, and the hair at the back of my head kept getting caught in the collar to the point that during one of the takes where I'm talking opposite of Jeremy, my neck got caught back, and I tried to play it cool because I try not to be like a needy complainer. I'm pretty go with the flow type. But I was like, I think it read on my face. I was like, oh, that I can't move my head anymore because my hair won't let me. And
Hawkeye's like, why are you looking at me like that? Something the matter?
So eventually they ended up duct taping the back neckline so that my hair wouldn't catch anymore.
Yeah.
And let me just say, like, wardrobe was lovely. Like, wardrobe and makeup teams were just the loveliest humans. Such good humans. And then yeah, the superhero outfit. First off, those are custom-made boots from a bootmaker in Canada, and I've never had custom-made shoes before. So snaps to him because those were awesome. But they did decide to go with actual chainmail underneath the outfit. So it is 18 pounds of chainmail. I stole my roommate's scale and brought it to the trailer to weigh it one night. So it's 18 pounds of chainmail, and then the shoulder pieces were a little bit clunky. So moving, like having to pick up the bat and swing it in them was awkward, which you'd never know. So it's just like, make it look cool, or it is what it is type thing. But they were very considerate, and they would never put me in the full outfit until they felt like we were like ready to roll, ready to go. But there was one night where we were dressed and ready, and then the whole schedule got switched around, and we ended up waiting in our trailers for like 6 hours.
Second team, baby.
Oh my goodness.
And I was just like, and I was in the chainmail for like 6 hours, 7 hours, 8 hours once you get like the filming and everything. And I was just like lying on the half sofa thing where I'm like, I can't do anything, so I'm just gonna stiffly lie here to get the weight off my shoulders.
That's actually a very fair point. In wearing them, like, they're very standable outfits, but I remember like it was an ordeal every time I had to go to the bathroom. Especially if it was in a floor banker and not like in a place, because there's so many layers to take off, and like the superhero costume I could not put on by myself. And I also could not take off by myself. So there are some parts where it's like, can you untie this and unzip this part? So then I'll hold it to be discreet on the way to That's fair. I'll give them that. That's fair.
Oh my gosh, I have a funny story. So the first time I tried on the chainmail dress, we did not think about hair getting caught in the chainmail. As I was in the trailer. I had gone like to set or something to do the fitting. Oh no, it was a fitting after we were filming at Tyler Perry Studios. So I was in street clothes for that. But then they're like, hey, before you leave, try on this, make sure it all fits. So in the trailer, I'm trying it on, and then we start like taking it off, and nobody really considered, like self included, the ramifications of having long curly hair and a chainmail dress. So we start taking it off, and then it all gets caught, to the point that I was literally on the I feel so bonded to the wardrobe team for this reason. I was on the trailer floor, just lying there as they had to pick my hair.
Oh my
I
gosh.
had no idea.
Just like,
Uh,
I was like, well, this is fun. This will be fun to tell one day.
Caught some overtime on that one.
Yeah,
I just
Right.
wish, man. But I was definitely for probably a good 15 minutes. They were like, I am so sorry. I was like, listen, I am just as much at fault here for not thinking about this. It just, it's one of those things,
you don't know until you know. Yeah.
That's it.
But,
What
yeah.
can you do?
Like half dressed, lying on the floor as they were picking my hair. We were very attentive to that moving forward.
Kind of harkening back to an earlier part of our discussion, as we said, we like to ask people their origin stories, but what is your favorite superhero? I know that Adetinpo talked about Storm when she was on with us, but what are your favorite superheroes, and does it change depending on if it's the live action representation or the comic?
My favorite is the Batman.
A lot of Batman fans here.
I just love the concept of Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Just what billionaire that basically just decides to go down a path type of and choose this path to be a crime fighter and help his city out. That there's always like something about that that's really resonated with me. I joke around that with my friends, and like if I don't know why someone's not doing that right now. Like if I had the money, I legitimately would start figuring out a way that I could be Batman. I love him. And then Gambit. Gambit was my favorite X-Men growing up.
Ooh, okay.
Gambit's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Out of that, and then if I was gonna go to like the Avengers side of it, I love Thor because I thought the first two movies were so blasé type of way to put it, and now like if you had told me when I saw Thor 1 or Thor 2 or I mean even the Avengers, if you had said, hey, Thor's gonna be probably one of the best arcs you're going to see out of all these characters and have emotional depth and deal with depression and things, I would be like, you're crazy. That but now fast forward to where we're at now, it was just pretty incredible to see what Chris Hemsworth was able to do with that character and have the comedic chops, but also the dramatic balance to just have something behind those eyes and really deal with the catastrophic loss of his people. So
Yeah.
that would be mine.
Yeah. Adele?
I usually default to Captain America because I'm pretty basic. and I'm such a sucker for hopeful characters.
Yeah.
But and that is America's ass. Doesn't hurt.
My sister calls him Christopher Jamal Evans.
Not
Jamal.
If you know, you know. If you know, you know. Go
I'm
on.
not sure I know, but I'm like connecting the dots somehow.
I'll text you in the group chat.
Cool. I'll play dumb blonde on that one.
I cannot.
Well, yeah, I like Captain America. I like Wanda. I think she's the Scarlet Witch. Has got a pretty cool thing. I'm actually very excited to see where she goes with the new Doctor Strange movie after that trailer.
Yeah.
And Elizabeth just signed a 7-picture deal, so
With Marvel?
Yeah,
just happened like within the last 72 hours, probably.
it's the longest of her career too, because she was piecemealed. All of her contracts were just She was like initially only supposed to have like a couple minutes in her first thing, and then I think her second movie too was like, hey, you're only gonna get 15 minutes. But it's crazy.
You're like just start popping up in every freaking show and every movie, just little cameos everywhere.
Right, just reveals.
For her.
I like
That's
her.
legacy money.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's my
Still
grandchildren
gags.
going to be eating off this check money. Go ahead.
Yes.
Good for
I
you,
think
girl.
I think her children are probably pretty good off that, like the Olsen twins.
It's just
money.
the Olsen thing.
Like,
in
That's still
general.
got
those,
day.
they got
That's
lots
not what I
of
said,
money.
Rob.
I love that she like found her way though. You know, that she didn't have to like always
Yes.
live, because I grew up with the Olsen twins and watching
Yes,
every little murder
same.
mystery, into the boy craze with that, like all of it.
Mhm.
And then to see Elizabeth kind of like find herself and be her own person, like I was like,
Yeah.
how exciting for her. I love that for her.
I remember, I feel like it was just recently that I even realized she was their sister. And that
Yeah,
was
same
such
here,
a
same for me.
testament to who she
Really?
is as an actress. Truly. I saw the last name, but I never thought to myself, oh, when you think
She
of the
looks like
Olsen
them.
twins, you just think of the Olsens, you know, the Olsen
Yeah.
twins. And I
I
wasn't
saw them in a
thinking, oh
picture.
yeah, they
It
have
wasn't until I
another
saw them in a
sibling.
picture together. Yeah, I saw them in a picture
Yes.
together when they were promoting one of the Marvel movies. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that
Okay,
tracks.
that makes sense
That makes
now.
sense.
Yes.
Semblance now.
She does look like them, but not if you don't, you don't see people together, you don't necessarily think that they look alike. And then you see them and it's like, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Also,
Mhm.
people
Yeah.
have stage names, so she could have like picked her last name out of a magazine. Like, we don't know. It took me a long time to
There.
realize it too.
Right?
I could just change my name to Rob Cruz.
Yes. Or Balenciaga.
Doing it. Doing it.
That isn't
and
her
Doing
real
so
name.
well now. Don't change now, Rob. You're doing so well. It's working.
I'll be honest. I've thought about changing my name several times, but it would just be a condense of my name. I would go Burt Walker. That's what I've thought about over and over and over again.
Ah.
Burt Walker.
Solid.
Yes.
I thought you were
like
gonna be
what
like
you got.
Robert Walbran.
That's what I was
First, I
thinking.
went immediately to,
Robert
yeah, Robert Walbran.
Zuri, can you
Well.
just mute Adele?
That's a terrible idea. Burt Walker's like action star, you know?
Yeah, like Chuck Norris.
That's a Western. That's a cowboy.
Wrongful rising.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
In the last few minutes that we have, you guys, I wanted to play a little game. I call it Hawkeye I Spy. So I just want to play a little I Spy with you guys.
Let's do it.
Whatever we have in our backgrounds right now. So
Solid blue background.
Thanks,
Good luck.
Adele.
nailed it. Well, we'll leave Adele for last. But I spy with my little eye something green.
Jason's
Is it
plant.
in your background
Jason's plant.
or is it Jason's?
It's Jason's. It's not going to be in my.
Jason's plant.
Don't pick something in your own space.
Oh.
I'm gonna make this interesting for y'all. Here we go.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. Perspective.
All the weird stuff back there.
I spy with my eye an umbrella.
No, it's a balloon.
Oh.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
Oh,
your computer's from
But I also
2014. None of us
thought
can tell
it
that.
was umbrella.
Drag her.
You're the only one
It's
not in HD.
Gonna make this
Oh.
one.
There we go.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, I got you.
But I'll give this to Rob. Yeah. That was a good one.
I do.
You did not need to come from my camera, Rob. Dang. Like, I know
She can come for her own camera.
it's Xfinity and the lighting's like, all right. Like, I'm trying. You got the same check I got.
Michael, why don't you try?
Oh, goodness. Okay. I spy with my little eye something. Oh, gosh. Okay. I spy something blue.
Zori's shirt.
Is there a shirt?
No.
It's a red herring. What is it? What's
The sky
This-
in Rob's
yes.
picture
Yeah.
behind him.
The sky in the Rob's
Hey.
picture behind
I was
is
going
red.
to go after everybody's shirt.
Yeah.
My shirt. Rob's shirt. I suck at this game.
Okay, I spy with my little eye something gold.
Is the thing on Michael's thingy?
Headboard. Yes.
Headboard.
No,
I'm
Yes.
gonna go with Adele's The Thing on Michael's thingy.
that was the answer.
I was like, I know it. I know this one.
I spy with my little eye something purple.
Hey, Rob, sit back.
I
The bottom of the light thingy in Rob's thing.
no.
The coat hanging in the back of the.
Yeah, is it that
Adetinpo?
coat?
Nope.
Is it something in the back of Adele? Is it whatever that is in Adele's? I don't know.
Nope.
I don't know what that is. Oh, is it on? No.
Purple.
Is it like
Is it on her shirt?
No.
Okay. Wait,
But
purple.
it is on a.
This is where having a phone is a terrible inconvenience right now. Right? Everything is so small.
Love that.
Did I stump
Is it
everyone?
on Michael's shirt? Is it the shadow of his shirt?
What
I think
did
Jason
you say,
wins.
Adele?
Is it the shadow of the letters on Michael's shirt? Is that purple?
Yes.
Oh,
It's the venom
Oh.
on Michael's shirt.
Wow.
Nice.
Good job,
Finally
Adele.
was a shirt, Adele. Good for you.
Only because Jason actually just said it was a
You
shirt.
picked shirt enough times.
I gave it away.
The right time, you know, a broken clock is right twice a day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Wait, Adele, did you go yet?
Sorry. Okay, should I go
I
back?
spy with my little eye something. I don't know if this is cheating, but I'm going to say it's silver.
Oh, Robert's beard.
Nope.
Silver's beard. No.
Fair enough, but no.
Is it the
Silver fox.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it the refrigerator behind Zuri?
silver.
Something silver.
Everyone should do a little move.
Okay.
Is it?
Is it not the exhaust over? Is that a fridge or that's a fridge?
Is it my headphone thingy?
Nope.
No.
Oh.
Wait,
Is it
if I
behind you?
move-
It can't be in your picture, Adele.
It's not in my picture.
Okay.
Chaos. Like that. Chaos. Lots of
Wait,
There's
Welcome
nothing
to
but
it-
silver in her picture.
is it Adetinpo's earrings?
Uh-uh.
Are they silver? No.
They're probably gold.
Do a little,
Oh,
do a
work.
little dance again.
Okay, dance.
Move
We're
more.
dancing.
Move more. Big.
Silver.
Do a big dance. Everybody's got to do a big
Wait,
dance.
I don't know. Is
It's
it?
not
Somebody's
me.
blocking whatever it is. Is it the left
Is it
behind
Zuri's
Michael?
light switch? Is that silver back there?
Or is it Zuri's wall? No.
Is it
Silver?
Jason? Is it something on? Is
anything
it your
in
door
Zuri's
handle?
room?
Is it?
Wait. Oh, is it
Is
that thing? Is it your
Is Jason
humidifier
fan?
or fan?
Oh,
Is that
that's
a-
what it is. Yes, that's it.
Ye- Oh.
Fan thingy. I definitely thought that was like a coffee pump thing, and now that I see it in full, it's a fan of some sort. But that's
Yes.
it.
Nicely done, Zuri.
She's like, do a dance. I'm like, wait a minute.
I'm like,
Okay.
I'm looking at everybody move. No,
Everybody
Jason,
swivel in their chair.
Everybody just move out of the way.
Slide to the left, cha-cha slide.
Yes.
But I'm just gonna do. Let's do one more round. I spy with my little eye something tan.
Oh, snap. Okay.
the curtains in Michael's room.
Is it behind Adele that it looks
Yeah,
like the
that
bed
thing.
there?
It's behind Adele, but it is not that particular thing.
Is it the boxes over her other shoulder? Or whatever that is? Window? Shelving?
Nope.
Oh.
Trying to decipher
Just
what's
start
in his
pointing at
room.
everything in your.
Adele, do a
in your
dance.
brain.
Adele, do a dance.
Right. Look, I know this is called super black, but you're not talking about anybody's skin, right? It's not Adele's
Nope.
skin.
No, that would be pale. That's definitely not tan. That's next level moon tan, pale glow.
You're gorgeous, Adele.
Is it?
Nope, it's not a box.
Oh, is it the
The ceiling?
chair?
Yeah, remember the top of whatever
Remember the
chair she's
chair.
sitting in.
Ah,
What is
yes.
Or whatever you,
The ceiling.
yeah, that.
Now
Oh,
I just
that.
want to get like 20 people on Zoom and play I Spy.
Right?
I'm like, y'all got in
What
the
you
back.
got? What you got? Right? What you
What's
got
in
there?
your house? But I had such a blast playing with you guys. Thanks for playing Hawkeye I Spy with me. If everyone could just give their social media handles and tell everyone where they can find you, we can start with Rob and then go to Adele and then go to Adetinpo.
You can find me on Instagram, Robert Walker-Branchaud.
Yep, best place to find me is also on. I wasn't sure if that was it or if there was more. And
We've done like 9 interviews. You know I only have Instagram at this point.
You can find me, Adele, on Instagram. That's the best place to find me. And it's Adelle Drahos, ADELLEDRAHOS, one word. Unless you want to follow my semi-non-existent Half-Bloods of Gila account, but me is just me on Instagram.
I am Adetinpo Thomas, and I am Adetinpo, that's me, on Instagram and Twitter. And I am I have an actor page on Facebook, and that I say that because the actor page is connected to Actor Nightcap, which I do like a once a month actor kind of workshop thing. And there's one this Wednesday, March 9th. So that's the shameless plug for that. But Adetinpo, that's me.
Awesome.
And Jason and Michael, if you could.
I am Jason Williams, and you can find me on Instagram as well at Blue Ranger 83.
I'm Michael Andreas. You can find me on Instagram at Michael_Andreas.
And as usual, I'm your friendly neighborhood host, Zuri Washington. You can find me on IG at Zuri with a fringe on top. Please let us know what you thought of our interview. Do you have any questions for the LARPers? Maybe they will answer them at a later time. Hopefully we see them again. We had a blasty blast with them. And don't forget to follow the podcast on IG at Super Black Podcast, or you can follow us on Twitter at Super Podcast. And don't forget, should you need heroes, we've got your back. We fear no topic we attack. If conversation is what you lack, you'll find it here with Super Black. Bye, everybody.
Hey.
Hey.